Welcome to Four Crazy Minds. I'm Destry Dex Brown.
I'm Shay Drollinger.
And as always, I'm Eric Meekum.
And unfortunately, still Bradley Trisdale.
So this episode, Brad has been begging us to let him tell his chew story.
Well, I wouldn't say I've been begging. It's more like Eric kept reminding me that I need to tell it because apparently it was just so miraculous for him.
Yep. You'll learn what a corn dragon is.
So,
Yes.
tell your story about the first time you tried chew.
Alright, well, my first dip, as Eric would put it, you're not allowed to talk to Big Dad a certain way until you've got a dip in.
That's right.
And so we were having a conversation at work in which I was apparently in the wrong because I did not have my dip in.
Exactly.
I have never dipped before. So he brought out his can and he was passing it around. Everybody was taking some dip. And
So what brand do you dip?
Like Copenhagen mostly. Chew Grizzly, whatever. You know, Levi Garrett Plug is the best.
What are you chewing today?
I'm chewing Grizzly Long Cut Wintergreen. It's rough, but it's cheap, so.
it's good.
Well,
good.
I was gonna ask for a dip, but
You want to man up? Let's get a dip in.
I can't do mint.
So the story takes place as one of my buddies went to take a dip and dropped his can.
That's a foul.
And
Punishable by death.
part of it did get on the floor, and we picked the can back up, and I took it from him, and I'm like, all right, well, he's not going to want it after you dropped it, and he's going to be pissed. So he came over to request his dip can back, and I said, no, I'm going to have my dip. Eric was pretty proud.
Proud moment.
So as Eric says, I took the perfect beginner's dip.
Which never happens. Beginner dips never are perfect and proportionate. He grabbed the most perfect beginner level dip that's ever been pinched.
And I, in my infinite fat guy wisdom, shoved that down in my gums and said, oh, this tastes great. And
I
Yeah.
said, that's good enough. And he kept stuffing dip in his lip. And I said, no.
And now Eric had been talking to me about the do's and don'ts of dip. And I listened to some of them, except for that one very important, crucial part.
That's the big one. That's an important one when you haven't dipped before. Do not grab a huge dip. It leads to vomiting and dizziness.
Which he did not tell me until after the dip was already sitting. And he said, you're going to feel a bit of nausea. And I turned back to do my job. And I stopped as the world started to spin. I said, there it is. And we've talked before that I have a perspective on the world where everything's kind of third person. So here I am watching this silly fat ginger with his first dip. And he's wobbling around. And he starts changing colors.
Yep.
Getting paler and paler, which originally was not thought possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was I fought through the first bit of nausea. Wasn't a big deal.
Like a champ.
Yeah, so I managed to keep my shit together, so to speak. And then that's when he informed me that when you dip, you have to shit. And that's when I realized my shit, in truth, was actually together.
Yes.
And we got stuck with some work problems in the middle of a stack of doors where everything went to hell.
As soon as that turd hit bottom, he had to go.
And that's when everything started going wrong. And so at first I'm watching myself and I'm like, oh, this looks pretty bad. This is going to be some funny shit. And that's when I realized, oh shit, that's me. I got to get back in there. So it was kind of a captain on deck moment. So to put it into perspective, it's like the captain of Star Trek Enterprise gets back on, looks at all his officers, and he's like, all right, what's our status? Well, Captain, This has never happened before. We've got some temperature problems. We definitely have to shit. There's a breach in the hull somewhere. We're not sure. And I'm giving her...
Why is your ensign, like, half Australian, half New Zealand?
Because he doesn't know how to pick how to be... What, like, exact culture to be worried in.
Okay.
So he's like, I'm giving her all I've got, but we've got another problem.
Is it just because you can't do a Scottish accent?
It's because I can't do any accent.
Okay.
So he's like, we've got some problems. And Captain goes, okay, what? And then we all have this guy somewhere deep inside of us, and you can hear him in the background. Eric told us not to take another dip. We didn't listen.
The didn't listen guy.
So we didn't listen, guys, going off, and I'm just like, shut up for a second. We got to get a handle on this. All right. Now, we've experienced nausea before. We need to get our bearings. Sit him down. So we start lowering the proper functions, getting the legs to bend, and we sit down, and that's when we realize this is not a sit down and make it go away point in time. And earlier that day, I had gone through my captain's log and realized that we had had ramen noodles with hamburger and corn. And we realized that the longer we hold this, the worse it's going to get. And that's when my bowman came up and he said, well, Captain, I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. And I said, well, what's the good news? And he says, the airway's clear. Okay, so we're breathing fine. What's the bad news? There's something coming up. And I said, what's the... So clearly there was about to be a problem. And Eric was reacting the same way he is now.
Laughing like a hyena?
Yes. And so I got a case of the hiccup. The hiccup chuffs.
And so
before I fully went through my transformation of becoming, as you said, a corn dragon.
Those are called dry heaves, bud.
Eric gave me this sound piece of advice. He hands me his Dr. Pepper and said, if you drink the Dr. Pepper, it's going to help fight that nausea. And I said, okay. And as I went to take a drink, I had forgot to spit before I took the drink. So, of course, once again, Captain, we've got another problem. I think we swallowed the dip. Are you fucking kidding me? Who's controlling this fat fuck? Will that be you, sir? Shit. So I proceed to try to battle the nausea, and I stand up. And I'm like, I'm going to the bathroom. Eric gives me the go-ahead. He says, if you gotta go, go. And I take this T-Rex arm position as I realize I'm not going to make it anywhere. I can see the exit door nearby. That's nowhere near the bathroom. My body, my main helmsman goes, sir, it's about 40 clicks to the exit sign. I think we can make it. And I said, 40 clicks? Shit. Let's try it. And I start waddling. As one who has to shit would do when not wanting to shit their pants. And I get halfway there. We're 20 clicks out, Captain. That's good. We're going to make it. Sir, off to the left. There's a dumpster. Shut up, autism, I know. That dumpster looks mighty quaint and humble and... Thus, the transformation into the corn dragon has been completed. Now, the first vomit, there was no dip coming out.
Hold on, I gotta point out that Eric is laughing so hard he's not making any sounds.
He's having a hard time spitting his dip.
His face is beet red and he's got veins coming out of his head.
He almost swallowed his dip when this happened. It's no surprise he's about to do it now. So, the first vomit, now I know I have everyone's attention. Because I hear the laughter of a good and joyous crowd. And that's when I realized the dip's still in there, but it doesn't taste as good and, tasty as it was before. Now it kind of tastes like bile. So I got to get that out of there. And upon realizing I need to get that out of there, autism goes, I got an idea. And I did my second breath attack for the round. At which point, our guy who sends us material walks over, looks at it, and goes, looks like a little turd, as he points at my dip. And I said, it is. It is a little turd. Which then reminded me, we didn't listen, guy. We forgot to go to the bathroom. We didn't listen. I now have to shit still. So I T-Rex back up. And I kind of fast waddle. And I'm like, okay, maybe, the nausea's dying down. We might be able to make it to the end of this press. Finish this stack of doors. We're good. And immediately after saying that to myself, I hear, Captain, we've got another breach. Oh, no. And this time it's where I stand.
It was huge.
And
I knew it.
I got scared. I'm like, this is the first time this has ever happened. I've never done this at work. Now, keep in mind that my first dip was during a day where it's about 90 degrees, plus I'm pretty sure over 60% humidity. So it was hot. And I turn around and I'm like, I'm going to the bathroom. And I took 2 steps. And I said, nope. So, once again, another round had passed. I had taken my 2 actions. And I decided to take my movement action. And I started T-Rexing my way. And I'm like, okay, so if the exit was 40 clicks away, that means the bathroom's got to at least be 100 clicks.
Oh, yeah, that's a long ways away.
And I start my perilous journey. And I'm not sure how much time has passed. And all the parts of my brain are saying things, and then there's that one murderous asshole in the back like, hey, watch, I bet he doesn't make it to the door before it happens again. And I said, shut up. And autism goes, look, there's another dumpster over there. And it became apparent at that point that that was actually my goal. So I see nobody around near the wrapping area that leads into the actual office. I see no one around. I pick up their dumpster, and I yell, no, as hard as I can into it. And I set it back down, stuff it back under the desk, so as to make it look like nothing has happened. I open the door, and I go to the bathroom. Now, at this point in time, I feel like I've been bathing in a swamp. I am covered in sweat. The glue and dirt on my body has melded off onto other parts of my body. I'm dying. I'm pale, sickly, trying to hold in a shit while not throwing up. I open the door to the bathroom. Somebody's there. I'm a nervous pooer. I can't do this. He's in here. So I sit down. I assume the position, the thinker stance and all. And I'm just like, God, I hope this guy leaves because this hurts. And then I realize, okay, I'm going to give it a little push. And that's when one of my guys speaks up, Captain, we've got a problem. What is it now? Well, it seems that if we're going to try to move the cargo, we're going to risk another breach. Fuck!
Your body couldn't decide whether to shit or puke.
Correct. And we battled for a few seconds, and then that man finally left the bathroom. And I took that moment to breathe and, have a captain's moment, try to figure out where we're going to go. So we start running diagnostics, and I feel something cold, and that's the wall. And at first I look around, and I realize, oh no, I'm dizzy. I'm going to develop claustrophobia. Yeah, I'm going to develop claustrophobia. And then my brain thankfully goes, no, you're a dumbass, you're about to throw up. And I'm like, okay, that's good, at least we got that established. My hand on one side of the wall, it's cold. So I put my head against it. And then I close my eyes and run some body diagnostics. I wake up later to Eric,
Yep.
going, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm just trying to take a shit and it's not working." As if it's some kind of mechanical problem. And he takes a piss and takes his leave. Because he's lucky and he doesn't have to deal with these problems.
Smart.
And I finally get to the point where I believe the nausea has gone away. And I drop my deuce. And it was heavenly. Like chocolate flowing waterfalls. As far as the eye can see.
Oh, you prick.
Just beautiful feeling. That feeling of pure nostalgia. Like you get into nice, not cold, but warm water in the middle of summer. You know, perfect feeling. And it's followed immediately by, I forgot to bring a trash can in here. There's we didn't listen, guy. Remember when you were sick, your mom always told you, take a trash can just in case. We didn't listen. We didn't. So I immediately did the roundabout. Wipe, get up, flush.
At least you flushed.
Yep.
I almost didn't make the flush, but luckily, when I was coming down, my hand hit the plunger, so I was good.
I know people that have done the roundabout and forgotten the flush.
Oh,
And
flashback.
so here I am T-bowing at this beautiful throne that I'm giving vows to. And it happens just like any form of drunk vomiting. Oh, why? What did I do, Lord? I'll never do it again. I'm sorry. I won't take a big dip.
Vomit talking.
Yep.
I'm sorry for all the wrong I did. Oh, God. When I hit Matt in the side, I totally gave him kidney failure. It's my fault. I'll buy him a snack when I get home. I never bought him a snack.
Yeah.
So I wipe my tears. I finally fought this battle. And I go on my way out, and as I'm on my way out, I realize it's been a while. Like, I don't know how long it's been.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how much time has passed. Thankfully, this happened on one of the days where we didn't have a supervisor at work. So I was okay as long as I wrote down heat stress. And I get out there. And on my way out, I'm trying to rehearse what had happened in my mind, trying to remember what I did to get me to this point where I became a corn dragon. Just in case I ever need to, do this again. And I see Eric. And everyone's smiling at me. Oh, he's back. Brad, are you okay? Did you have fun? Hey, there's a dumpster right here if you need it. Did you have corn for lunch?
Yep.
So I look at the timer, and I realize it's only been 37 minutes. So I'm like, oh, that's not bad. And Eric goes, yeah, I started that after waiting about half an hour to see if you'd be okay.
Yeah, I made it.
I'd been gone an hour.
This fucker had
I had thrown up 6 times. Apparently it's a record. And I then looked at Eric and I said, okay, so what happened was I put that dip in. And I thought, oh, this tastes great. And then from my perspective, Eric's eyes cartoon out as I take this gigantic mammoth of a dip and jam it into my mouth. And suddenly the world spins and I'm like, there it is. And that's where my story ended. Me recounting it, of course, to Eric and him having this same reaction.
Yep.
So, one thing that should happen now, Eric, you need to share some of those beautiful words of dip wisdom.
Well, it's very important.
Sunburned cowboy.
Sunburnt cowboy style, that will be a thing. We will put that on
eventually, yes,
YouTube.
That'll be something. Well,
It's a segment on our show now, the Sunburnt Cowboy. Words of advice.
You can't wait until he sings his song.
Rule number 1 of dipping. Get a dip. open the dip. You're going to pack your dip nice. Get a nice pinch. Put it in your lip. Spit. Do not swallow said dip. It's very important. Sip when you're dipping. If you're dipping, you're sipping. If you chew gum, you can chug all you want. So, remember these simple rules. You ain't dipped before, you take a baby dip. Because even a man was a baby once. So remember, you didn't start out a man, you started out a baby, so when you're dipping, dip accordingly. Do not, under any circumstances, take a massive chop, put it in your lip, trying to man up. You are not a professional. And if there's people around you that have been dipping a while, take their advice. When they say, no, bad.
Or they will make fun of you for it later.
Yes, always. So never, ever, 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 I don't even know how many more evers I need to put in that, is take a massive dip your first time. And
Thanks for looking at me the whole time you said that.
Because I don't think you fully grasped the consequences of the dip.
So, is he at like an amateur level of dip now?
Let's find out.
Well, we can do this right here. Got this can. That's the sound it should make when you're packing your dip. And these grizzly cans don't open worth a shit.
Yeah, you got twist.
So now, Brad, take your baby dip.
I will indeed take my baby
If you
dip.
take a big dip, you're going to have to pay for it. There's a baby dip. Put it in your lip.
It's precious.
Now push it in there nice. Make a nice little ball right there where you can spit effectively.
It's taking a little bit. I'm kind of retarded.
You should never have to fiddle with it that long. It's just in. Now watch this. Watch what Nestor's doing. Takes it to pinch. Making sure he's pinching it so it's not all loose. He's putting it in his lip. And it's done. Just like that.
If you have to fuck with it, use your tongue. And see, I take a dip that fills the lip.
And
now I don't have a spitter.
Oh, shit. Rule number one, we fucked
always
up.
have a spitter.
Got one.
You spitter.
Oh, that.
So, everybody's grabbing their spitter now. It's very important you have your spitter. You gotta
My
learn
That
smells
wintergreen,
beautiful.
I forgot how bad that burns.
It burns pretty good.
Now, I don't quite recall what my first dip was. Do you remember?
Yes, it was just plain grizzly, long cut.
That's the good stuff.
And you dipped it like a man, failed like a child.
Yes, that happened. I became a corn dragon.
Mm-hmm. So, I hope you learned something from this manning up experience.
I learned that when you get a dip in, you can say what you want.
You're right. I got a dip in.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the size of the dip.
The fact you got a dip in. So, you feel like a man now?
Kinda. I feel like I swallowed a little bit of my dip.
Probably did.
Damn it.
You
Yeah.
probably did. Everybody swallows a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now me, I'm doing what I used to do in high school. I got a dip in and I'm smoking a cigarette.
Multitasking. Brad is not ready for that level.
No, I'm getting hit with nicotine from two directions.
Alright, I'm taking a dip and ruining what was Shay's drinking bottle.
Shay looks defeated. Like he might just punch you in the dick.
Well, he can't because I got my dip in.
That is rule. That is the house rule. You cannot hit me in said dick if said person has a dip in.
Someone's been using that as a spitter.
Brad.
As you can see, he is visibly upset.
if you do get hit in
There's
your
a bottle
dick,
right there.
do not swallow your dip.
Would you like to tell the story of a man at work who swallowed his
For a
dip?
drinking bottle.
He turned purple.
Well, this goes back a ways.
Can we do it without naming names this time?
M&M's.
Yes, M&M's.
I thought you
Can we
said-
do it without
I thought
M&Ms?
you said M&M's. What the hell? So, building doors. Standard procedure. Bunch of goofing off going on. And this guy's trying to jam things in my ass. Because
What?
It's standard door procedure.
It's
Calm
standard.
down.
This going.
This is a standard door procedure.
Oh,
And
Am I gonna have to age restrict this?
Hang on.
Um,
There it is.
Brad's gonna puke.
No, it's the spinning.
So, I'm building doors and throwing glue balls at this guy. I'm not actually throwing them, somebody else is. He thinks it's me. So he's going to try to cornhole me with some materials for a door. I'm like, damn it, man. You're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not doing it. And so, it comes about so where this back and forth is happening. Meanwhile, we have these baseball-sized dips in. Like, I mean huge, because a guy we work with bought a pound of dip. So everybody had these big old massive baseball player chaws in. And the guy comes back around to try to mess with me. So I'm defending him with a style. I'm blocking him. And this other guy who had bought the dip comes like to get involved in the fun. Well, this guy who has been trying to cornhole me this whole time sees another movement on the side of his eye, turns around and boots this kid with a steel toe on, square in the dick.
Ooh.
And he was trying to run away, like he tried to jump back, and I thought he was going to run out the back and hide. But he disappeared, and there was a stack of doors coming up. I couldn't see him. And I looked down, like in a classic horror movie, there's boots around the corner on the ground. And I'm like, oh, he didn't make it. I'm starting to laugh uncontrollably. This kid gets up. When he went down, he had this baseball-sized dip in.
Oh.
When he came up, there was no dip in sight. He swallowed his entire dip and wasn't right ever since.
He turned all sorts of pretty colors.
Oh, he was not doing good. All he could say is, I swallowed my dip. And so that's why we have this rule. When getting kicked in the nuts, do not swallow your dip. Because it's going to lead to being a corn dragon. And you're going to have a breath attack every so often.
Now, it is a new rule that we have at work now. When you have your dip in, simple, no grab ass.
That's right.
So, on the topic of ass, how you doing, Eric?
Now that's a loaded question, Brad, because you pointed this out.
Well, you got your dip in, tell a story.
Well,
From a third party perspective, this is a fascinating story to realize happens at his place of employment on a daily basis.
I like how you said fascinating, because most things you have that are fascinating you fixate upon.
not this. Okay, go on.
well, you hear things when you're doing your job. First they comment on, hey, he's got cargo pants on. That's making his ass hang out, like you can see his ass. I try to ignore this. Brad is pointing out, check out Minkin's ass. Man, people try not to notice it, and they look over at it and they're like, yeah, nice. And I'm trying to do my job, not hitting myself with a fucking press hammer while I'm trying to fix doors.
And one of the manliest men in the place comes over.
This big dude driving a forklift. I am fixing a fucking stack of doors. He pulls up, he's like, hey man. I'm like, what's up? I thought there was a problem with something that he had to talk to me about, because that's usually what happens. He's been flexing at me and all this stuff, and I'll flex back at him and like, yeah, we're muscly, whatever. Well, he comes over, he stops his forklift right behind me hops off his forklift. He goes, "Hey." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Nice glutes." I'm like, "Fuck." He's like, "Yeah, man." So I'm fucking not doing so good. All these dudes are checking me out. Like, they're scoping me out. Like, damn it, man. I'm a man. What the hell are you looking at me for?
What's funny is one of your closest friends for a long time that's worked out with you for a while comes over and I said, "Look at his ass." And he says, "I'm not going to look at his ass." I'm like, "Isn't it a nice ass?" And he tries to avoid the conversation, but he has the most shit-eatingest grin on.
Oh, fuck.
Like he was staring at it the whole time.
Well, it gets worse. Now, you think it doesn't get any worse. Now, the same guy that was on the forklift, this big dude comes over. He flexes and he's like, "Man, you got some big arms." I'm like, "Thanks." And
Is forklift dude hitting on you?
well, it gets better. I'm starting to question everybody's persuasion at this point. And I'm like, I don't want to be here no more.
As if you wanted to be here in the first place.
No, I didn't want to be here for different reasons. Now I really don't want to be here. So this guy hops up, comes over to me, grabs my arm, he goes, "Nice." And he grabs my leg. He's like, "Damn, man, nice glutes." And I go to Brad, I'm like, "Damn it, I gotta quit working out. I'm gonna quit." "Why?" "Well, because everybody's staring at my ass. I gotta get fat or something. I gotta quit doing this working out stuff."
So would you say you now feel unsafe? Is there a bit of harassment in the workplace?
Do you
Or,
feel
as I should say,
objectified?
harassment?
Well, it's funny. Harassment. There's some hair on this ass, that's for sure. But
It wasn't meant for this.
it's just one of those things, and the thing that popped in my head is like, man, now I know how a chick feels. They're surrounded by dudes, and all they want to do is talk about your ass. Which is not as offensive as it would be to them.
Now, I don't objectify women like that.
Right.
I objectify the shit out of Eric like that.
Yeah, apparently. You pointed it out and everybody got hung on my ass, dude. They fucking
I
staring
thought you
at it
said hung on my ass.
like, damn, they wish they had a swing like that in their backyard. The fuck? And it's awkward, man.
It's
I was
great.
like, I know they can't rape me because I will beat their ass. But, like, damn it.
What's great is I was talking to one of your minions, and we have this thing from a joke of a webcomic where we flex and we make a strong joke. And I looked at him and I said, "Strong arms." And he goes, "Ugh." And he flexes. And then I turn and I point at my butt and go, "Strong glutes." And then he points at Eric.
That sucks. But yeah, people like my ass. Apparently it's a cult phenomenon at work.
Well, folks, that's
Eric's ass.
Eric's ass story and Brad's chaw story. So, thank you for listening.